Alright, work is going to continue on the Tacoma solid axle swap. Since last time I did the oil pan, oil dipstick tube and such, and the only other work I've done beyond that is I finished cleaning up the frame on that side and this side. Just the back two portions, the rear cross member and the strut tower. Still got the front one in. Like I said, I want to get a cross member in the front. So I think the next step I'm actually at is going to be working on the rear shackle hanger, which will go in this area, and a hanger in the front. As you can see, I've already got a couple things kind of mocked up. Got my hangers, they're correctly set width-wise. But and that's something I want to discuss. I didn't mention it in the previous video, but I'm doing leaf spring, but the difference is I'm doing a full width axle perch. However, I don't actually have a full size axle. I'm running a Trail Gear rock assault axle. It's the 5-inch extended version, has chromoly inner axle shafts, and I am going to set it up for 31.5 inch on center, which is full size. Pros and cons of doing it: you kind of get some more road stability with a little bit wider perch. Con, you're going to get a little bit less flex out of it. In the long run, I can always upgrade to a full size axle just by unbolting the axle and bolting a new one in. Say, you know, Ford or Chevy full size in at 60, something like that. Yeah, so I didn't like any of the hangers though online, so I bought these guys. These are Sky Off-Road Designs. You'll see them called Swords sometimes online. These are their French-in shackle hangers for the Tacoma. You can say they kind of have a, let me see if I can show it to you better. They're parallel, which is how the shackles are going to mount, but then there's one side that's got a taper on it, which is going to be for the outside of the frame where it tapers inwards, going towards the front. This is the one right here for the driver's side. I've already got a shackle that comes with, offset shackle. You see the taper? That would match up with the driver's side. According to the internet, this center eye bolt is supposed to be about 1/4 inch forward of that cab mount center bolt, so somewhere in that area. Based on a lot of my looking online and stuff, and pushing the axle forward as much as I can, and a few other things, my understanding is that around here, this end point needs to be pretty close to like this weld seam here. So it comes up and over and in, and the front side cut should come down somewhere in this area. You can kind of see my scribe line. So it'll be in that area somewhere. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is work on marking out where that needs to go. It's going to take a little bit of trial and error, which I'm sure I'll do behind the scenes. As soon as I have a better understanding, kind of know where I want them, have them mocked up, I will let you know. Cut a portion of the body mount out here, then use the Sawzall to buzz off these welds as flush as possible. Made a template of the side of that French mount. Mosquitoes out here. And I'm trying to put the bottom corner right up in here. And I've already compensated for how much overhang I want. I've taken that out of this template. So if I have this flush here and can mark it pretty much flush like that and throw my lines across to the frame while maintaining parallel on this, as long as this is parallel to the main straight portion of the frame, that should get it right where I want. And my height with where I cut off at the top is almost perfect. I may have to shave some, but we'll find out. So I think I'm going to try to get this marked under the frame, and I don't know, maybe make a trim, maybe cut it up a little bit on this side, we'll see. Alright, my lighting isn't good as usual. Got it marked to the best of my ability, and I've got the outer portion cut. Might need to do a little bit more right in the corner. Started the cut on the bottom there and there. I did notice that there's a it's going to be tough to see. There's a gusset inside. I can't get light on it and have you guys see it. There we go. There you can kind of see. You can kind of see it in the shadows. There's like gusseting inside that, of course, is right inside my cut line right here. So I don't know. Just keep taking the Sawzall and do my best. I need to mark the inside with my little template. Got a piece of cardboard we cut out to mark it. I'll show it to you in a sec. It's finished cutting, and I had to pry out this portion of the frame. To be noted, there's an internal cross member running through it, which is kind of a pain in the butt. I cut into it a little bit, it's fine. I kind of want to finish sawzalling across that portion there. There's another cut in the back that I'm almost through. Kind of like to do that and just get it out of the way. After that, I should be able to kind of test the general fitment of this guy. This worked out pretty good as a little template. I'll probably try to, I don't know if I can get any use out of this to kind of swap it over to the other side. We'll see. But for now, first triangle cut out of my frame. Pretty nerve-wracking, let me tell you. Here is a quick mock-up of that shackle hanger in the frame. I'm sure you can see there's a bit of a gap at the top, right up in there. I'm hoping to close that up. I'm going to nip the bottom corner off of this. Pretty close to, well, it's a little gap there, but it's touching up here. So I'll probably grind a little bit out of the top area up here, nip this off right about where my fingernail is, just flush to the frame, just kind of give me some room around here for tacking and welding. I had this is going to be the harder part to see. You can see a little Sharpie line along the top of my bracket. That's kind of how much room I want to give myself right in there to weld, and I'm pretty pleased with where it landed there. This side, it's a little low on the inside of the frame. Granted, the frame steps there because of the seam. I don't know if I got this side just a little too high, or higher than this side, or what, but I'm sure I'll be tweaking it a bunch and checking level across this lower portion of this shackle. I'll be checking its level left to right in relation to the truck, as well as trying to get it to seat up in there evenly, and hopefully I can get the other side to match, and then it's all a matter of centering it on the truck left to right to get that 31.5 inches on center. But of course you won't make it 31.5 inches center between this bracket and the same hanger on the other side. It has to be centered with the offset shackle. And of course this shackle hangs offset towards the inside when it's up in the frame. So I have to get these in there, pop these guys in, and get it correct left to right. Or I can just do some measurements and get whatever my offset distance is and just do some math, but probably be easier to just have these in there and just straight up measure it. It's always easier to physically put the tape measure on it than it is to kind of do numbers. At least I think so. I think this is where I'm going to leave off for the night. Hopefully I'll pick up in a day or two, or go from there. Alright, picking up where I left off from last night, I got a portion of the frame cut out and put in one of the Frenched hangers. I didn't get it welded in, just set in there. It's pretty close, got to do a little bit more grinding. But I need to cut out the passenger side still, and I didn't really cover it very well. My lighting was bad, it started getting dark. I'm going to try to show you better on the passenger side what I did, see if I can reverse it. You know, it's opposite side, so flip everything. And see if I can get that one in there this evening. Kind of close. I know I'm going to have to do a little bit of grinding and double checking all my measurements, make sure everything's parallel and square. But if I can get it close, hopefully I can, maybe this weekend get those welded in and start working towards the front hanger. So let me move over to the passenger side and kind of show you what I had mocked up last night to get it marked. On the passenger side, and this side has not been modified at all. Still got the factory cab mount. As I mentioned in a previous video, I do have a 1-inch body lift, so there's a little puck up in there. Hope to get that out in the future. But what I did on the other side is I start by cutting along here, like this portion. Use the Sawzall, cut as close to the frame as possible, try to get most of that weld portion off. And then I cut flush right about here. Basically took that corner out. afterwards, made up this little template that matches that matches the French chain hanger, and it goes with that longer side on the back. And this basically, see if I can kind of get you sideways on it. I put this right about there, kind of cupped it into this little corner that exists here. And this little template, technically the French hanger has a little bit hanging off extra on each end here and here. I compensated and cut that distance off for what I wanted to hang below the frame to weld against, to weld up on each end here and here. So this is the total height I want it to go up inside the frame, and this is the same contour as the hanger. There is no extra material needed for the outside. This already compensates for that. So when I put this up against the frame, basically I want this lower portion here to be, flush essentially with the bottom edge of this. Wherever it ends up from here to here, if you were to draw a straight line, that's where it's going to touch. So from the other side, I'm probably going to grab a measurement from this corner and see if I can get a mark on the frame, scribed into the frame, where the front edge of this kind of rides wherever I cut, as well as get this cut out of there. And then when this gets marked up against the frame, you got to hold it parallel to the frame, parallel to the long, straight portion of the frame. That way it, will line up. Because it has to go perpendicular to the long portion of the frame. So you kind of got to get everything square. It sounds a little confusing. Hopefully in a little bit I'll get those pieces cut out. I'll get this cut out and I'll lay a square up there and stuff and kind of show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, I just finished cutting off the lower portion of the cab mount. Just like that. After that, I'll take my template, which is up here. This template is supposed to land kind of in this area. Like I said, I gotta move it back a little bit, trim up some of this garbage in here, get it scoot back. But essentially it goes from there, and you kind of line it up level at the bottom, right about there. And that's the mark. Comes up pretty close to the bottom of this cut up here. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit more. Like I said, I pulled a mark from the other side. It's about 30 millimeters from this corner. So I'll probably hook into this corner and just kind of scribe a circle. This should make contact with the radius of that circle. Helps me align this thing front to rear. Try not to, trying to mess these up. These are pretty darn crucial. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit more and see if I can get this thing in the same spot. Got this a little bit better cleaned up. Cleaned up well enough I don't think it's going to be in my way for marking. Now hopefully I can make this make some sense. First of all, I've got this caliper preset to a distance, like I said, on the other side, where it's open and already cut through, is that distance. So I scribed a line into the frame there. That'll just help me with my alignment coming on from this angle. This angle is perpendicular to the long edge of the frame, which is represented by this. This is clamped to the edge of the frame. So, I take my template and set it in the same place over here, kind of tucked up into this corner at the back of this cab mount, and I make it flush to the frame. I'll end up about right there. And then one of the best ways I've found yet is you can represent this with that, see that line on the frame with this shadow? Basically that's how I marked the other side. Got it where I needed it, shine the light as directly on as I can, and draw that line. That keeps this line shooting perpendicular across the frame at the other side. As long as this is up at the top, this right across here is pretty flat. At the back it's flat and flush with the bottom of the frame. And then you just mark it, and that's where you'll be cutting it. So I think that's the line I'm going to cut. That doesn't seem super scientific. It's pretty close. The other little tip I had was taking one of these carpenter squares. If I set it against the level like this, I can pull this up and use it as a way to mark this edge on the bottom like that. One there. I'll use the square. I can use it again directly against the edge of the frame. Basically like that, and it gives me a line across the bottom. So I think it's good as it's going to get. I pulled a measurement from the front of the frame up here back to where it would be if I cut it on this line, and it was about right. I pulled the line, that same line to the back at this cut, pretty damn close. Pulled off of a spot on the frame to here, pretty darn close. So I feel pretty good about it. I do know when I cut to this point, I'm going to kind of come a little bit high and level this back a little bit, kind of be on the inside here, but on the red up here, just kind of taper it back. It's a little closer to what the other side is. So, and like I said, got my scribe line, so I'm going to cut right on the inside of this scribe line, and I shouldn't have any issues. So I think that's what time it is. Cut the frame. The one on the right is the passenger side portion of the frame cut off. If you look closely, it almost looks like I'm short on this end, while this end's pretty tight. This end I managed to cut better with the side grinder from the outside of the frame here, but on the inside the exhaust passes through there, so this part was really difficult to get to. So I ended up cutting it with a plasma cutter. You can kind of tell the waviness of the cut, a little bit more butchery down there. So there should still be more on the frame that I can just grind off. And if that's the case, not a big deal. Just kind of grind until I get where I need to be. Alright, as you can see, a little more blow through and nastiness, and especially there, because you can see where my cut was passing through right in the center of the screen. But look at all the extra excess in that area right through there. So I have to get rid of that, and I'm pretty confident that I cut a little low, and it's so hard to give good perspective with the camera. I'm pretty sure that I'm low in this corner back here and need to grind up a little higher. But I'm going to clean up, knock the slag out of it, and try to test fit the French hanger and see how she fits. Update on the Tacoma solid axle swap. It's been about 3 weeks probably since I filmed the portion with the hanger buckets for the shackles. Basically we're having a parts problem, so I wanted to show what's going on, what we're trying to do to solve it. Over here on the bench we've got these buckets that I showed previously. The one for the driver's side, one for the passenger side. They're both, this would be the front of the truck if the truck was upside down. So these are the hanger buckets. And this was an original shackle. This was an original shackle sent to me. They have about 3/4 inch offset. When I set this up in the frame, these guys are touching the outside edge. I mean, I'm talking flush. And then when I measure these for center to center, I only get 32.5 inches. For full size width axle, I'm looking for 31.5. I cannot push these in anymore without just completely gusseting and boxing in this thing on the frame, which is not what I should be having to do on a part I purchased. Now, being said, I contacted the company and they have gone above and beyond for customer service. Sky's Off-Road Design has really been holding their own with trying to solve the problem and get me a solution to a product they said would fit my truck. So the first solution was to try to send me a different offset shackle. Due to a communication error between staff there, they said it was going to be 1/2 inch more offset, when the reality is it's about a 3/4 additional offset. Let's get a better number. 2 to about almost 2 3/4. So it's about 3/4 more. It only needs to be 1/2 more. If you do a 1/2 more offset on each offset shackle, it'll get us farther in by 1/2 inch more on each side, therefore making up for that 1/2 inch width, or 1 inch total width, excuse me. The problem with these is when you set these in the bucket, Let's see if I can explain that. When you put these overly offset shackles in the bucket and the bolts in the correct position, when you rotate them, these make contact with the edges of the bucket there and about up there. So they're obviously not going to work. At the moment, I am waiting on a new set of shackles. I contacted them. They're going to make a custom offset shackle with what I need. I quoted them to give me 1 5/16 offset, maintain this distance so that it doesn't hit this bucket as compared to this one. If you look at them from the side, you can probably see this bend, that's about in line. This bend starts much later than this one. That distance here keeps it from hitting. So they're supposed to be making me some custom offset shackles. They're supposed to be, this is a Sunday, they said they're supposed to be finished tomorrow and shipping out that day, so it'll probably be a couple days after that. All I can do is wait. I don't really have a solution to that, so all I can do is wait.